Hey there. Tonight, we're leaving the flatlands behind. We're climbing high into the great stone heart of the continent, into the towering and majestic Rocky Mountains. Our journey takes us back to a time before ski resorts, before highways, before the very idea of a national park. We are going to live for a time within a Native American clan that called these formidable peaks and sheltered valleys home. Forget the image of the mountains as a barrier to be crossed or a wilderness to be conquered. Tonight, we explore the mountains as a home, a pantry, and a cathedral. We will join a people, perhaps the ancestors of the Ute or the Shoshone, whose entire existence was a graceful, intelligent, and cyclical dance with the seasons and the altitude. Their lives were a vertical migration, following the resources from the low river valleys in the winter to the wildflower-strewn meadows of the high country in the summer. This is a story of a life lived on the roof of the world. It's a story of hunting the elusive bighorn sheep on treacherous cliffs, of gathering the hidden roots and berries of the alpine tundra, and of understanding the deep, spiritual power that resides in the great, silent peaks. If this kind of slow, detailed, and immersive history helps you to quiet your mind and find some rest, I would be grateful if you'd like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if these stories genuinely bring you a measure of peace. And as always, I love to see our global community gathering. Please feel free to leave a comment with your location and what time it is for you. There is a unique comfort in knowing we are all settling in together. So, dim your lights. Turn on a fan for that soft, ambient hum if you find it soothing. Get comfortable, and let's travel high into the thin, clean air of the Rocky Mountains, to a world governed by the eagle, the elk, and the enduring stone. Part 1. The Deep Freeze, Winter in the Valley. You awaken to silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but a deep, profound, and insulating silence. The sound of a world buried under a thick blanket of snow. The air in your home is cold, but it is a still, dry cold. A world away from the howling, horizontal wind that scours the high peaks above. Your home for the winter is a wickiup, a simple but ingenious conical lodge. It is built from a sturdy framework of long pine or aspen poles, tied together at the top. This framework is covered with a thick layer of brush, and then with a weather-resistant layer of animal hides deer, elk, or buffalo. The snow itself has become a part of your shelter, piling up against the sides of the wickiup, creating a natural and incredibly effective layer of insulation. You are lying on a raised bed of pine boughs, which keeps you off the frozen ground and provides a soft, fragrant mattress. You are wrapped in a magnificent robe made from the hide of a mountain goat, its white, hollow hairs providing a warmth that is almost magical. In the center of the lodge, a small, well-tended fire smoulders in a shallow pit. It is a fire made not of large logs, but of dry, seasoned wood, gathered with great effort in the autumn. The fire is the heart of your winter life. It provides not just warmth, but light, and the means to cook your food. A thin stream of smoke rises from the fire and escapes through a small, adjustable smoke hole at the apex of the lodge. The air is smoky, but it is the familiar, comforting smell of home. You are surrounded by your family. In the winter, your people gather in larger, more substantial lodges like this one. Your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, you are all here together, a small, warm circle of life in a vast, frozen world. This intense, communal living is the core of your social world, a time for reinforcing the bonds of kinship through shared hardship and shared stories. You can hear the soft, rhythmic breathing of your family, you can hear the quiet crackle of the fire, and you can hear the deep, profound silence of the snow-covered world outside. Your village is not on an exposed plain. It is a winter camp, strategically located in a low, sheltered river valley. The high, surrounding peaks of the Rocky Mountains protect you from the worst of the winter winds. The nearby river, though frozen over, provides a source of water if you are willing to chop a hole in the ice. The valley is filled with a thick stand of pine and aspen, providing the essential firewood that will keep you alive through the deep freeze. You have been here for months, since the first heavy snows of autumn drove you down from the high country. Your life has become small, quiet, and inward-looking. The great migrations and hunts of the summer are a distant, sun-drenched memory. Now is a time for endurance, a time for conserving energy, a time for waiting. You lie still for a moment, listening to the sounds of your family beginning to stir. Your mother is adding a few precious sticks of wood to the fire, Your father is checking the sinew backing on his bow. The day is beginning. It will not be a day of great journeys or dramatic events. It will be a day of quiet, essential, and often repetitive work. A day lived in the smoky, firelit twilight of the winter lodge. A day dedicated to the simple, and yet profound, task of surviving until the sun returns. The winter is a long, slow-moving river of time. The world outside is a frozen and often hostile place. Your life is now confined to the small, smoky circle of the winter camp. But it is not a time of idleness. The winter is a season of intense, focused, and highly skilled craft. It is the time when you take the raw materials gathered during the rest of the year and transform them into the tools, the clothing, and the objects that will be needed for the year to come. If you are a man, your primary winter task is the maintenance and creation of your hunting and survival gear. You will spend countless hours sitting by the fire, your hands constantly busy. Perhaps today you are making snowshoes. The snow in the mountains is deep, and to travel, to hunt, to gather firewood without them is impossible. The snowshoe is a masterpiece of folk engineering. You have gathered a long, flexible branch of willow or ash. You have steamed it over the fire and bent it into a teardrop shape. Now, you are weaving the intricate, web-like decking from long, thin strips of rawhide, or babiche. The weave must be tight and strong, able to support your weight on the deep, powdery snow. It is a slow, meticulous process, and the quality of your snowshoes might well determine your ability to find food in the leanest months. Or you might be working on your bow and arrows. You are refletching your arrows, using the stiff, durable feathers of the hawk or the grouse. You are straightening the arrow shafts, made of dogwood or serviceberry, by gently heating them over the fire and sighting down their length. You are chipping new arrowheads from a piece of obsidian you acquired at the Great Autumn Trade Fair, your skilled hands creating a point of deadly sharpness. The women's work is just as constant and just as essential. They are the masters of the hide. They have spent the autumn tanning the skins of the deer, the elk, and the bighorn sheep you have hunted. Now, in the winter, they are transforming this beautiful, soft buckskin into the clothing your family needs to survive the cold. Your mother is sewing you a new winter shirt. She is not using a metal needle. She is using a sharp, fine-pointed awl made from bone to pierce the holes in the leather. Her thread is not made of cotton, but of the strong, fine sinew taken from the back of a deer. Her stitches are tiny, even, and incredibly strong. The shirt will be warm, durable, and comfortable. She will likely decorate it with intricate patterns of dyed porcupine quills, or with the colourful glass beads that are a new and highly prized trade good. The women are also responsible for making and repairing the moccasins. A life of walking and riding in a rugged, mountainous terrain is hard on footwear. The soles of your moccasins are constantly wearing out. The women are always busy, sewing new soles of tough elk hide onto the softer deerskin uppers. There is also the work of making rope from rawhide, of carving spoons from the horns of the bighorn sheep, of weaving baskets from willow shoots for the gathering to come in the spring. Every single person in the family has a task. The children are learning by watching, by helping. A young boy might be given his first small bow and taught to fletch his own clumsy arrows. A young girl will sit by her mother's side, learning to sew a straight seam, to soften a piece of hide. And pervading all of this quiet, productive labor is the sound of storytelling. The winter is the time when the history and the spirit of your people are passed down. An elder will sit by the fire, his hands busy with some small carving, and he will tell the old stories. He will tell of the creation of the world, of the great spirit beings who inhabit the mountains, of the trickster coyote and his endless, comical, and instructive misadventures. This is the life of the winter. It is a life of making do, of repairing, of creating. It is a time when the community turns its energy inward, focusing on the small, essential tasks that will ensure its survival. You are not just passing the time. You are weaving the very fabric of your material and cultural life, one patient, skillful, and mindful act at a time. The winter is the season when you eat your memories. The fresh foods of the summer and autumn, the berries, the fresh meat, the green plançar, a distant, almost dreamlike recollection. Your survival now depends entirely on the food you are able to preserve and store. Your winter diet is a testament to your people's foresight, their ingenuity, and their capacity for endurance. The primary food that sustains you through the deep freeze is dried meat. The venison, the elk, and the bighorn sheep that you hunted in the autumn were cut into thin strips and dried over a slow, smoky fire or in the crisp, dry air. This jerky is your main source of protein. It is tough, it is chewy, and it is incredibly nourishing. You do not just gnaw on the hard strips of jerky. It is often prepared in a stew. Your mother will take a piece of the dried meat and pound it between two stones, breaking down the tough fibers. She will then boil it for hours in a pot with water, perhaps adding some dried roots or the precious cakes of camas that were prepared in the spring. The result is a thick, savory and warming soup that is the centerpiece of your evening meal. Another essential part of your diet is the fat. In the intense cold of the mountain winter, your body craves calories and fat to generate heat. The fat from the animals you hunted, the bear was rendered down in the autumn into a pure, clean tallow. It is stored in skin bags or in the cleaned intestines of the animals. You will eat chunks of this hard, white fat along with your dried meat. It is a powerful source of energy, a kind of human fuel that keeps your internal furnace burning. You also have the fruits of your autumn gathering. You have stores of dried berries like huckleberries and service berries. These are a precious source of sweetness and vitamins. They are often mixed with the rendered fat and the pounded meat to create pemmican, the ultimate survival food of the American interior. A small ball of this dense, high-energy food can keep a hunter going for an entire day. And you have the nuts. The pine nuts, gathered from the pinyon or the limber pine, were roasted in the autumn and stored. They are another rich source of fat and protein. You will eat them as a snack, or they will be ground into a flour and added to your stews. The diet is monotonous. Day after day, it is the same combination of dried meat, of fat, of berries, of nuts. But it is a diet that is perfectly adapted to your needs. It provides you with the energy, the protein, and the warmth you need to survive the brutal cold. But there is always the anxiety of the dwindling supply. The winter is long. You do not know when the spring thaw will come, when the first new foods will be available. Every meal is a small act of faith, a small subtraction from your store of life. The food is shared communally. The hunters who were most successful in the autumn will share their stores with the families who were less fortunate. The elders and the children are always cared for first. It is the fundamental law of your people. The community survives together, or it does not survive at all. As you sit in the warm, smoky wickiup, eating your simple, savory meal of elk stew, you are tasting the fruits of an entire year of labor. You are tasting the skill of the hunter, the patience of the gatherer, the foresight of the women who preserved the food. You are eating a meal that is made not just of meat and fat, but of knowledge, of community, and of a deep, abiding resilience. It is a diet of endurance, and it is what will carry you, once again, through the long, dark, hungry night of the winter. The winter in the Rocky Mountains is not a gentle, picturesque season. It is a time of profound, and often terrifying, power. The greatest expression of this power is the blizzard. It begins not with a roar, but with a strange, oppressive silence. The wind, which is a constant presence in the high country, dies down completely. The air becomes heavy and still. The sky, which has been a brilliant crystalline blue, turns a uniform, milky, and featureless grey. A strange, pale light filters down, a light that seems to drain the colour from the world. The elders in the camp see this, and they nod to each other. They know what is coming. You have only a few hours to prepare. You bring your horses into the most sheltered part of the valley, into a thick stand of pine trees that will offer them some protection from the wind. You gather as much firewood as you can and stack it just outside the entrance to your wickiup. You check the hide cover of your lodge, making sure it is securely staked down. And then, the first snowflakes begin to fall. They are not the large, fluffy flakes of a gentle snow. They are small, hard and dry, like grains of sand. They fall not straight down, but are driven almost horizontally by a wind that has risen from a whisper to a moan in a matter of minutes. Within an hour, the world outside your lodge has disappeared. It has been replaced by a swirling, howling vortex of white. This is not just a snowstorm, it is a ground blizzard. The wind, which can reach speeds of over 60 or 70 miles an hour, picks up the snow from the ground and hurls it through the air, creating a wall of white so dense that visibility is zero. You are now a prisoner in your wickiup. To step outside would be to be swallowed by the storm, to become disoriented and lost in a matter of feet, to freeze to death in a world that has no landmarks, no direction, no up and no down. The sound of the blizzard is a physical assault. It is a high-pitched, continuous shriek, the sound of the mountain itself screaming. The wind tears at your lodge, threatening to rip the hides from the poles. The poles themselves groan and creak under the immense pressure. You can feel the vibration of the storm in the very earth beneath you. The cold is a palpable living thing. It finds every tiny crack, every seam in your lodge. A fine, powdery snow, as fine as flour, is driven through the smoke hole and through the doorway, dusting everything inside with a thin layer of white. You and your family huddle together around the small, precious fire. You are wrapped in your thickest fur robes. The fire is your only defense against a cold so intense it feels like it is trying to extinguish the very spark of life within you. You feed the fire sparingly, stick by stick, knowing that your supply of wood is finite, and the storm is not. The blizzard can last for days. You lose all track of time. The world is a timeless, featureless roar of wind and white. You sleep, you wake, you eat your meager rations of dried meat. You tell stories to the children, your voice a small, quiet sound against the fury of the storm. You worry about your horses. Are they safe? Have they been buried in the deep, wind-driven drifts? Your horses are your most valuable possession, your key to survival. The thought of losing them is a cold, hard knot of fear in your stomach. And then, after 3, maybe 4 days, a change. The relentless, high-pitched shriek of the wind begins to subside. The roar lessens to a moan, then to a whisper, and then silence. A silence that is as profound and as shocking as the noise was. The blizzard is over. You push open the flap of your wickiup. The world is reborn. It is a landscape of impossible, breathtaking beauty and of immense danger. The snow is piled in great sculptural drifts, some of them 20 or 30 feet high. Your lodge is buried, only the very top of the smoke poles visible. The sun is out, and it reflects off the new snow with a light so brilliant it is painful to look at. You must dig your way out. You use your snowshoes to walk on top of the deep, soft snow. The work is hard, the air thin and cold. You dig a tunnel out of your buried home. You dig out your horses, who are alive but weak and shivering. The blizzard has transformed your world. The familiar landscape is gone, replaced by a new, white and treacherous geography. The hunting will be difficult. The travel will be dangerous. But you have survived. You have endured the mountain's breath, the white death. You have looked into the heart of the great, wild power of the winter, and you have emerged once again into the light. Your respect for the mountains, for their power, for their unforgiving beauty, is now deeper than ever before. Part 2. The unfurling time, spring in the foothills. The change is not a single event, but a slow, almost imperceptible series of awakenings. The first sign is the sun. It feels different on your skin. It has a new strength, a new warmth. It is no longer the pale, distant star of winter, but a living, breathing presence. The days are growing longer. The iron grip of the winter is beginning to loosen. The snow, which has covered your world for 5 long months, begins to change. It is no longer a dry, powdery substance. It becomes heavy, wet, and granular. It begins to melt. The sound of dripping water, a sound you have not heard in months, returns to the world. It is the sound of the great thaw. A new energy begins to stir in the winter camp. The confinement, which felt so safe and so necessary during the blizzards, now begins to feel oppressive. Your spirit, like the world outside, is beginning to yearn for movement, for space, for the open sky. The elders of the clan watch the signs. They watch the snow line, which is slowly, day by day, retreating up the sides of the mountains. They watch for the return of the first migratory birds. They watch for the budding of the willows along the riverbank. And then the word is given. It is time. It is time to leave the winter valley. It is time to begin the great, seasonal, vertical migration that is the rhythm of your life. The entire village is mobilized. The wickiups are dismantled. The possessions are packed. The horses are gathered, and the journey begins. You do not travel east or west. You travel up. You are following the spring. You are following the green. As the snow melts at the lower elevations, the first new plants of the year begin to emerge from the damp earth. You follow this emerging line of green, moving slowly up, out of the sheltered winter valley and into the foothills of the mountains. The world is being reborn, and you are a witness to its creation. The air is clean, cool, and smells of damp earth and new life. The streams are running high and fast with the meltwater. The landscape is a patchwork of retreating snow and emerging brown earth. Your first spring camp is a temporary one, a simple collection of brush shelters or lean-tos. You are here for the first great harvest of the new year. After a long winter of eating dried, preserved food, your body craves the taste of something fresh, something green, something alive. The women and children will spread out over the hillsides, their digging sticks in hand, their baskets on their backs. They are searching for the first edible plants of the spring. They will find the tender young shoots of the balsam root, which can be eaten raw or roasted. They will find the wild onions, their sharp, pungent flavor, a welcome shock to a palate that has been dulled by months of monotonous food. And they will find the small, starchy corms of the spring beauty, a delicate, pinkish-white flower that is one of the first to bloom. These small, potato-like tubers are a delicious and welcome source of carbohydrates. This is not just food gathering. It is a celebration. It is a joyful reunion with the plant world, with the green and living things that have been absent for so long. You are a people on the move, a people in perfect synchrony with the changing of the seasons. You are following the retreating snow. You are following the emerging plants. You are following the trail of life, up, out of the darkness of the winter valley, and into the bright, new, and hopeful world of the mountain spring. Your life in the spring camp in the foothills is a life dedicated to the small, humble, and incredibly precious gifts of the newly awakened earth. After a long winter of subsisting on the monotonous diet of dried meat and fat, your body and your spirit crave the taste of fresh, green, and living things. The first harvest of the year is not a great, dramatic event like the buffalo hunt or the salmon run. It is a quiet, patient, and deeply intimate gathering of the small treasures that the earth offers up to you. The leaders of this harvest are the women. They possess an encyclopedic and ancient knowledge of the plant world. This knowledge is not written in a book. It is carried in their minds, in their hands, in their memories. It has been passed down from mother to daughter for 100 generations. They know every plant in these hills. They know its name, its uses, its spirit. They know which ones are food, which ones are medicine, and which ones are poison. You, as a young person, will follow your mother and your grandmother out onto the hillsides. This is your classroom. You will learn by watching, by listening, by tasting. Your mother will point to a small, unassuming plant with a cluster of bright pink flowers. This is bitter root, she will tell you. She will show you how to use your pointed digging stick, your tuki, to carefully pry the long, fleshy taproot from the rocky soil without breaking it. She will show you how to peel away the thin, bitter skin to reveal the white, starchy meat inside. The dried bitter root will be one of your most important trade items and a staple food for the winter to come. She will show you the wild onion, the biscuit root, the yampa root. Each one has its own unique place to grow, its own specific time for harvesting, its own method of preparation. This is more than just botany. It is a deep, spiritual ecology. Your people believe that the plants are a nation, just as you are. They are living beings, with their own spirits, their own power. You do not just take them, you ask for them. Before the first root of the season is dug, a ceremony is performed. An elder woman will offer a prayer to the spirit of the plants. She will thank them for offering their bodies to feed the people. She will sing a song of honor and of gratitude. The first root that is dug is not eaten. It is left on the ground as an offering, a gift back to the earth. This relationship is one of reciprocity. You take, but you also give back. When you dig for roots, you are also tilling the soil, aerating it, ensuring that the plant community will remain healthy and productive for years to come. The gathering of the spring greens is a joyful event. The children will run through the meadows, picking the tender young leaves of the wild sunflower, the fireweed, the cow parsnip. These greens are a powerful medicine, a spring tonic that cleanses your body and replenishes the vitamins that have been depleted over the long winter. The work is slow, patient, and peaceful. You spend your days under the warm spring sun, your hands in the cool, damp earth. You are surrounded by the sights, the sounds, and the smells of the reawakening world, the buzz of the first insects, the song of the meadowlark, the sweet, fragrant scent of the sagebrush after a spring shower. At the end of the day, you return to the camp, your baskets filled with the bounty of the earth. The evening meal is a feast of freshness, a stew made with tender venison and wild onions. a side of steamed spring beauty corns, a salad of fresh greens. The taste is a revelation, a shock of life after the bland, preserved tastes of winter. As you eat, you feel a profound sense of gratitude. You are a part of this world. You are a part of its cycles, its rhythms, its generosity. You have received the first gifts of the earth, and you have been reminded, in the most direct and delicious way possible, that the world is, once again, taking care of you. The spring is the time of new life, not just in the plant world, but in the animal world as well. As you move through the foothills and the mountain valleys, you are a witness to the great annual miracle of birth. The great herds of elk and mule deer, which have spent the winter in the lower valleys, are also following the spring green up into the high country, and the does and the cows are heavy with young. You will come across them in the aspen groves and the willow thickets. A newborn elk calf, its legs long and wobbly, its coat covered in spots. A deer fawn, so small and so still that it is almost invisible in the dappled sunlight of the forest floor. This is a sacred time. The animals are at their most vulnerable, and your people treat them with a special reverence and respect. It is a strict taboo to hunt the mother animals when they are with their young. To do so would be to violate the sacred principle of life, to endanger the future of the herds that sustain you. The hunt in the spring is a quiet, selective, and often difficult one. The men will hunt for the young bachelor bulls, the animals that are not a part of the great nursery herds. Or they will hunt for the yearlings, the animals that were born the previous spring. But even this is done with great care. The spring is not a time for the great communal drives of the autumn. It is a time for the stealthy, solitary stalk. You might go out with your father, your bow and arrows in hand. You are not just looking for an animal, you are looking for the right animal. You are reading the story of the herd. You are looking for a sign, for an animal that seems to offer itself to you. You will spend hours, even days, moving silently through the forest. You are a shadow, a ghost. You are using all of your skill, all of your knowledge of the land to get close to your prey. When you make a kill, it is done with a sense of quiet respect. The meat from this spring hunt is a welcome addition to your diet, a taste of fresh protein after the long winter. But it is not the great, industrial-scale harvest of the autumn. It is a small, selective, and sustainable hunt. The spring is also a time of great danger for the young animals, and you are not their only predator. The mountains are home to the wolf, the mountain lion, and the great grizzly bear. These predators are also waking from their long winter sleep, and they are hungry. You are in competition with them, but you are also in a kind of partnership. You understand that they too have a right to live, that they too are a part of the great complex web of life. You will hunt the deer, and the mountain lion will hunt the deer. It is the way of the world. As you watch a mother deer tenderly grooming her newborn fawn, you are filled with a sense of wonder. You are a witness to the great, powerful, and mysterious cycle of life, of death, of rebirth. You are a hunter, a predator, a man who must kill to live. But you are also a part of this great family of living things. And you understand that your own life is dependent on the continuation of this sacred and often brutal dance. Part 3. The high country, summer on the mountain's roof. The spring in the foothills has been a time of gentle awakening, of gathering the first tender gifts of the earth. But the sun is climbing higher and stronger each day. The lower valleys are becoming hot and dry, and the great herds of elk and deer are on the move. They are following the retreating snow line, following the greening grass, up into the high country, and you must follow them. The summer is the season of the high mountains. It is the time when your people will leave the foothills behind and make the great vertical ascent to the roof of the world, to the alpine meadows and the cool, wind-swept ridges that are your summer home. The journey is a slow and steady one. You move in rhythm with the season, with the animals. Your camp is mobile, a collection of lightweight skin or brush lodges that can be easily dismantled and moved. You travel up through the different life zones of the mountain, a journey through a series of distinct and beautiful worlds. You leave the sagebrush and the juniper of the foothills behind. You enter the cool, dark and silent world of the lodgepole pine and the spruce fir forest. The air here is clean and smells of pine resin and damp earth. You see the tracks of the black bear. You hear the chattering of the squirrel. You continue to climb. The forest begins to thin. The great towering trees give way to smaller, twisted and wind-sculpted Krumholtz trees. You are approaching the timberline, the place where the trees can no longer survive. And then, you emerge from the forest and the world opens up. You are standing at the edge of the high alpine meadows. It is a landscape of breathtaking beauty. The ground is a lush, green carpet, dotted with a riot of colourful wildflowers, the blue of the lupine, the red of the paintbrush, the yellow of the alpine sunflower. The air is thin, cool, and incredibly clear. You can see for 100 miles a vast panorama of jagged peaks, of blue-green forests, of distant, hazy valleys. This is your summer home. This is the land of the long sun and the cool nights. This is the land of abundance. You make your summer camp in a sheltered spot, near a clear, cold, spring-fed stream. The work of setting up the camp is quick and efficient. The simple, conical wickiups are erected. The fires are lit. The life in the high country is different from the life in the winter valley. You are no longer confined, no longer looking inward. You are living in a world of vast, open spaces, of immense, humbling beauty. But it is also a world of challenges. The weather in the high mountains is notoriously fickle. A beautiful sunny morning can turn into a violent thunderstorm of hail and lightning in a matter of minutes. The nights are always cold, even in the middle of the summer. And the altitude itself is a challenge. The air is thin. Every movement requires more effort. You learn to move slowly, to breathe deeply, to conserve your energy. This is a world that demands a different kind of knowledge, a different set of skills. But it is also a world that offers a different kind of reward. The high country is where the largest herds of elk and deer will spend the summer. It is where the most powerful medicinal plants grow. And it is home to the most prestigious, the most dangerous, and the most sacred of all the animals you hunt, the bighorn sheep. The journey to the high pastures is complete, and the great work of the summer is about to begin. Of all the animals in your mountain world, there is one that holds a special place in the heart and the spirit of your people. It is the bighorn sheep. It is not the largest of the animals you hunt, nor is it the most important for your daily subsistence. But it is the most respected, the most admired, the most sacred. The bighorn sheep is the true spirit of the high peaks. It is a creature of incredible strength, agility, and grace. It lives on the highest, most inaccessible cliffs and ridges, a world of sheer rock and thin air where no other large animal can survive. Its great, curving horns are a symbol of power, of virility, of a wild and untamable spirit. To hunt the bighorn sheep is the ultimate test of a man's skill, his courage, his endurance, and his spiritual power. It is not a task for the young or the inexperienced. It is a pursuit undertaken only by the most accomplished hunters in your clan. The hunt is a long and arduous expedition. A small group of hunters will leave the summer camp and travel for days, deep into the highest, most rugged parts of the mountains. The tracking of the bighorn is an art form. The sheep leave little sign on the rocky terrain. You must be a master of reading the subtle clues. A dislodged stone, a tuft of wool caught on a thorny bush, a faint set of tracks in a patch of snow. The hunt is also a feat of mountaineering. You must climb the same treacherous cliffs, navigate the same narrow ledges as your prey. You must be as sure-footed, as agile, and as fearless as the sheep themselves. A single misstep can mean a fatal fall. The sheep have incredible eyesight. They are constantly scanning the slopes below them for any sign of danger. To approach them requires a profound understanding of stealth, of camouflage, of using the wind and the terrain to your advantage. You will spend hours, even days, stalking a single ram, moving with an almost geological slowness, trying to get within range of your bow. Because of the difficulty of a direct stalk, your people have developed a number of ingenious and communal hunting techniques. One of the most effective is the drive. The hunters will identify a place where the sheep can be trapped a box canyon, a narrow pass, a place where the cliffs form a natural funnel. Some of the hunters, the drivers, will then circle around the herd of sheep, and with shouts and gestures they will begin to drive them, slowly and carefully, towards the waiting ambush. Other hunters will be hidden among the rocks at the narrow end of the funnel. As the sheep are driven towards them, they will rise up and release a volley of arrows. Another technique involves the use of hunting dogs. Your dogs are not pets. They are trained and valuable partners in the hunt. They are used to corner a sheep, to hold it at bay on a narrow ledge until the hunter can get close enough for a shot. The kill itself is, as always, a sacred moment. The bighorn sheep is a powerful spiritual being. Its life cannot be taken lightly. A prayer of thanks is offered. The body is treated with the utmost respect. Every part of the sheep is used. The meat is lean, and it is prized for its flavor. The hide is thin, but incredibly tough, perfect for making the strongest bowstrings and the most durable moccasins. But the most valuable part of the animal is its great, curved horns. The horns are not just a trophy, they are a source of a powerful and sacred material. The horn can be steamed, straightened, and carved. It is used to make the most powerful and prestigious bows in your culture, bows that are backed with sinew and can drive an arrow with incredible force. The horns are also carved into large, elegant spoons and ladles, objects of great beauty and status. To be a successful sheep hunter is to be a man of great prestige and spiritual power. You have proven that you have the skill, the courage, and the spiritual favor necessary to meet the Lord of the Peaks on his own terms and to receive his great gift. The horns of the bighorn will become a part of your sacred bundle, a tangible connection to the powerful spirit of the mountains themselves. To live for an entire season at an altitude of 10,000 feet or more is to live in a different world, a world with its own set of rules, its own challenges, its own opportunities. Your people are masters of the art of altitude, possessors of a deep and often subtle body of knowledge that allows you to not just survive, but to thrive in this high, thin, and beautiful world. This knowledge is not written down, it is lived. It is learned through experience, through observation, through the stories and the teachings of your elders. You have a profound understanding of the mountain weather. You know that the weather in the high country is a fickle and dangerous beast. You know how to read the signs of a coming thunderstorm in the shape of the clouds, in the direction of the wind. You know that a clear, sunny morning can become a cold, violent hailstorm in a matter of minutes. You know that the lightning in the high, exposed places is a deadly and immediate threat. You know which valleys are prone to flash floods. You know where to seek shelter when the sky turns angry. You have a deep, botanical knowledge of the unique plants of the alpine and subalpine zones. You know which of the tiny, ground-hugging alpine flowers have edible roots. You know which lichens can be used to make a medicinal tea for a cough or a fever. You know which plants are poisonous. Your mother and grandmother are walking encyclopedias of high-altitude botany, their knowledge essential for your family's health and well-being. You are a master of high-altitude travel. You know how to pace yourself in the thin air. You know how to navigate the treacherous scree slopes, the fields of loose, sharp rock that can slide out from under your feet. You know the safest routes through the high mountain passes. You know how to read the snow, how to identify the signs of a potential avalanche. And you have an intimate, personal relationship with the landscape itself. You do not see the mountains as a collection of inanimate rock and ice. You see them as living, powerful beings. Each peak, each valley, each lake has its own name, its own story, its own spirit. Some mountains are benevolent spirits, places of healing and of good hunting. Others are dangerous, malevolent places, home to angry spirits, places to be avoided. You know the stories of these places. You know the prayers that must be said, the offerings that must be made, to travel through them safely. Your spiritual life is deeply intertwined with the high country. The highest peaks are the places that are closest to the sky world, the home of the most powerful spirits. The vision quest, one of the most important spiritual journeys in a young person's life, is often undertaken in the solitude of the high mountains. A young man will go alone into the mountains, with no food or water, to fast and to pray, to cry for a vision, for a guardian spirit who will guide him for the rest of his life. This deep, multi-layered knowledge of the weather, of the plants, of the terrain, of the spiritsies, the art of altitude. It is what allows you to live in a world that would be, to an outsider, an incredibly hostile and dangerous environment. But to you it is not hostile, it is your home. It is a place of profound beauty, of spiritual power, of immense, life-giving abundance. It is the place where you feel most alive, most connected to the world, most truly yourself. You are a child of the mountains, and this knowledge is your greatest inheritance. Your home in the summer is not the sturdy, semi-permanent and well-insulated pit house or wickiup of the winter valley. Your life in the high country is one of constant movement, of following the game, of seeking out the best berry patches, the best stands of medicinal plants, and your shelter reflects this mobility. Your summer home is a light, simple, and beautifully efficient structure, a house that can be put up in an hour and taken down just as quickly. It is often a small, conical tipi or a dome-shaped wickiup, but its construction is much lighter than its winter counterpart. The framework is made of a few, slender aspen or pine poles, and the covering is not the heavy, bulky layer of hides and earth you use in the winter. It is made of large, woven mats of tule reeds or cattails. These mats are a masterpiece of women's craftsmanship. They are woven so tightly that they are almost completely waterproof, shedding the frequent summer rain showers. But they are also lightweight and can be rolled up into compact bundles for easy transport on the back of a horse or a travois. The summer lodge is not designed to be a fortress against the elements. It is designed to be a simple, effective, and temporary shelter. It provides a screen against the wind, a roof against the rain, and a protection from the intense sun of the high altitude. The inside of the lodge is simple, clean, and uncluttered. The floor is the earth itself, covered with a soft, fragrant mattress of fresh pine boughs. Your bed is a simple buffalo robe or a deerskin. There is a small fire pit in the center, used for cooking and for providing a bit of warmth during the cold mountain nights. Your possessions are few: your tools, your weapons, a few baskets for gathering and cooking, your sacred bundle. You are living a life of elegant, functional minimalism. You are unburdened by the weight of unnecessary things. This philosophy of light living is at the heart of your summer existence. You are a part of the landscape, not an imposition upon it. You move through it with a light footprint, leaving little trace of your passing. The summer camp is not a single, fixed location. It is a series of camps, a constellation of temporary homes. You might stay in one place for a week or two, until the grazing for the horses is depleted, or the nearby hunting has been exhausted, and then you will move on. The process of breaking camp is a quick and efficient one. The tule mats are rolled up, the lodge poles are bundled together, everything is loaded onto the horses, and within an hour your home has vanished. The only sign that you were ever there is a circle of flattened grass and the cold ashes of your fire. This life of mobility and impermanence would be, to a person from a settled, agricultural society, a life of insecurity, of rootlessness, but to you it is freedom. You are not tied to a single piece of land. You are not a prisoner of your own possessions. Your home is not a building, it is a set of skills, a body of knowledge, a way of being. Your home is the entire mountain range. Your roof is the vast, blue and ever-changing sky. Your light, portable, and beautiful summer lodge is a perfect expression of your relationship with the world. It is a home that allows you to be a part of the great, seasonal rhythm of the mountains, to move with the animals, to follow the ripening of the plants, to be a true and free inhabitant of your high-altitude kingdom. Part 4. The time of gathering. Autumn's descent. The sign comes first in the nights. They are no longer just cool, they are cold. A sharp, biting frost covers the high meadows in the morning, a glittering white blanket that vanishes with the first touch of the sun. The great, long days of the high country summer are ending. The time has come to begin your slow, downward migration, back to the safety of the winter valley. The journey down the mountain is not a frantic retreat. It is a slow, methodical, and final gathering of the earth's bounty. It is a mirror image of your journey up in the spring. You are following the season, and the season is now one of ripening, of fruition, of a last, great burst of generosity before the coming of the cold. Your first stop on your downward journey is the great huckleberry fields. In the late summer and early autumn, the subalpine slopes of the mountains are covered with vast patches of huckleberry bushes, their branches heavy with the small, dark, and intensely sweet fruit. The berry harvest is a time of great joy, of feasting, and of hard communal labor. It is primarily the work of the women and the children. The entire camp will move to the berry fields. You will spend days, even weeks there. The work is simple, but it can be tedious. You will move through the bushes, carefully picking the ripe berries and placing them in your woven collecting baskets. Your people have developed an ingenious tool for this work, a small comb-like device made of wood. You will use this comb to strip the berries from the branches, a much faster and more efficient method than picking them one by one. The work is pleasant. The air is cool and clean. The sun is warm but not hot. The mood is a happy and a social one. The women will sing the berry-picking songs. The children will laugh and play, their mouths and hands stained purple with the juice of the berries they are eating. You will eat your fill of the sweet, fresh fruit. It is a taste of pure, concentrated summer. But most of the harvest must be preserved for the winter. The berries are spread out on large, flat baskets or on clean animal hides and are left to dry in the sun. They will slowly shrink and wrinkle, becoming hard, sweet, and resine-like. These dried berries are a vital part of your winter diet. They are a precious source of sugar and vitamins. They will be mixed into your pemmican. They will be stewed with dried meat. They will be eaten as a sweet treat during the long, dark winter evenings, a small, delicious memory of the sun and the summer. You are in a race with the other inhabitants of the mountain, who also value this sweet, rich food. The black bears are also in the berry patches, fattening themselves for their long winter hibernation. Your encounters with them are usually peaceful. You respect them and they respect you. You will make noise as you work, singing, talking, letting the bears know you are there. They will usually move off, allowing you to share the great bounty. The berry harvest is the first stage of your descent. You are gathering the last of the sun's warmth, the last of the summer's sweetness. You are packing it away, preserving it, carrying it with you down into the deepening shadows of the autumn, a small, sweet weapon against the coming cold and darkness. As you continue your journey down from the high peaks, you enter the great golden aspen groves and the dark, silent forests of the montane zone. The air is crisp and carries a new, pungent, and musky scent. It is the scent of the elk rut. Autumn is the mating season for the great Rocky Mountain elk, and it is the time for the most important and most exciting hunt of the year. The elk are magnificent creatures. A large bull can stand 5 feet at the shoulder and weigh over 700 pounds. In the autumn, the bulls are at their most impressive, their necks swollen, their antlers fully grown, a great, branching crown of bone. And they are noisy. The sound of a bull elk bugling is one of the most powerful and haunting sounds in the mountain world. It is a high-pitched, screaming whistle that rises in pitch and then ends in a series of deep, guttural grunts. It is a sound of challenge, of dominance, of pure, wild power. It echoes through the canyons and the valleys, and it is a call to the hunters. The autumn elk hunt is a communal affair. It is a great, strategic undertaking that requires the cooperation of the entire band. The hunt leader, an experienced and respected hunter, will use scouts to locate a large herd of elk. He will study the terrain, the wind, and the movement of the herd, and he will devise a plan. The plan is often a drive. A large group of people, men, women, and even older children will act as the drivers. They will form a great, semicircular line, and they will begin to move through the forest, making noise, shouting, beating sticks together. They will slowly and carefully push the herd of elk out of the forest and towards a predetermined location. This location might be a natural trap, like a box canyon or a steep-sided ravine. Or it might be a place where the best hunters of the band are hidden in ambush, their bows ready. You are one of the hunters in the ambush. You are hidden behind a screen of rocks or in a thicket of brush. You are silent. You are still. You have been waiting for hours. And then you hear it, the distant sound of the drivers, the faint cracking of a branch, the sound of the approaching herd. Your heart begins to pound. The elk burst from the trees into the open meadow where you are waiting. They are confused. They are running. It is a moment of controlled chaos. And you rise up and you shoot. The air is filled with the hiss of arrows. The hunt is a quick, efficient, and deadly affair. The goal is to kill as many animals as possible, to provide a great store of meat and hides for the coming winter. The aftermath of the hunt is a scene of immense and bloody labor. The women descend upon the fallen animals, their knives sharp. The work of skinning and butchering the massive carcasses begins. The meat is cut into thin strips and hung on great wooden racks to be dried and smoked. The hides, which are much thicker and tougher than deer hides, will be used to make the soles of moccasins, the covers for war shields, and the warm, durable winter robes. The great canine teeth of the bull elk, the ivories, are prized as ornaments, and they will be sewn onto the dresses of the women. The autumn elk hunt is the great, final provisioning of your people before the winter. It is a hunt that is both practical and sacred. It is a violent and necessary act that will ensure your survival. As you look at the racks of drying meat, at the piles of heavy hides, you are filled with a sense of security. You have worked together as a community. You have outwitted the great elk. You have received their gift. The long, cold, and hungry nights of winter now seem a little less daunting. Your slow, downward migration continues. You have left the high alpine meadows and the montane forests behind. You are now in the foothills, a dry, open landscape of pinyon, pine, and juniper trees. And this landscape offers one final, crucial gift before the winter: the pine nut. The pinyon pine is a small, scrubby, and unassuming tree, but in the autumn, its cones open to reveal a treasure. The pine nut is a small, but incredibly nutritious, seed. It is rich in fat, in protein, and in calories. It is a perfect survival food, and the harvest of the pine nuts is the final, essential task of your autumn gathering season. The work is, once again, a communal one. The entire band will move to the pinyon groves. The gathering of the pine cones is done in several ways. Some will be picked directly from the tree, but the pinyon pine is often a sticky, resinous tree, so a more common method is to gather the cones that have been harvested and stored by the other inhabitants of the forest. You will look for the great middens, the storage piles, of the pack rats and the squirrels. These industrious creatures will have spent weeks gathering thousands of pine cones and storing them in great, messy piles at the base of trees or in rocky crevices. You will raid these caches. This is not seen as theft. It is seen as a kind of partnership. The animals, you believe, have gathered more than they need. You will take some of their store, but you will always leave a gift in return. You might leave a piece of dried meat, a few colourful beads, a prayer of thanks. It is an act of reciprocity, of respect for your fellow inhabitants of the world. Once you have gathered a great number of the cones, the work of extracting the nuts begins. The cones are hard and sealed tight with resin. You must use fire to open them. You will build a fire and let it burn down to a bed of hot coals. You will then place the pine cones in the coals. The heat will melt the resin and cause the scales of the cone to open with a soft, popping sound. The cones are then removed from the fire, and the small, dark-shelled nuts are shaken out. The nuts are then roasted, either in a flat basket with hot coals or on a hot, flat stone. The roasting gives them a delicious, nutty flavour and makes them easier to store. The pine nut harvest is a time of feasting and of hard work. You will sit around the fire in the evenings, cracking the shells of the freshly roasted nuts and eating the rich, oily meat inside. But most of the nuts will be stored for the winter. They are an essential part of your diet of endurance. They will be ground into a flour and added to your stews. They will be mixed with dried berries and meat to make pemmican. They will be a source of life-giving fat and protein during the coldest, hungriest months of the year. The gift of the pine is the final gift of the gathering season. It is a gift that requires patience, a knowledge of the land, and a respectful partnership with the other creatures of the forest. As you pack the last of the roasted pine nuts into a skin bag, you look up at the sky. The days are short now. The air is cold. The first snows of winter are not far away. The time of gathering is over. The time of returning is at hand. The wind has a new voice. It is no longer the soft, whispering wind of summer or the crisp, rustling wind of autumn. It is a cold, sharp, and mournful wind, a wind that speaks of the coming snow. The final journey of the year has begun. It is the journey back to the safety and the shelter of the winter camp. The mood of this migration is one of urgency. You are in a race against the winter. The high mountain passes that you must cross could be closed by a heavy snowstorm at any time. To be caught in the high country during the first great blizzard of the year would be a disaster. Your horses are heavily laden. They are carrying the accumulated wealth of an entire year of labour. The dried salmon from the summer, the camas cakes from the spring, the dried berries from the autumn, the heavy, warm hides of the elk and the bighorn sheep, the bags of pine nuts. Your horses are carrying your survival. You move quickly, purposefully. The long, leisurely days of the summer are a distant memory. You rise before the sun. You travel all day. You make your camp late in the evening. The journey is a descent, a return to the lower world. You leave the high, open country of the pinyon and the juniper behind. You move down into the great forests of the montane zone. The trees offer some shelter from the wind, but the shadows are long and cold. You continue down into the sheltered river valleys. The air is warmer here. The wind is less fierce. You see the familiar landmarks that tell you that you are approaching your winter home. And then, one afternoon, you see it. The sheltered valley where your pit houses and wickiups are waiting. The sight of your permanent home, after a long year of wandering, is one of profound and overwhelming relief. You have completed the great circle. You have followed the seasons. You have followed the resources. And now you have returned. Your horses heavy with the bounty of the earth, your spirit weary but your heart full. The final days of autumn are a flurry of activity. The winter lodges must be prepared. The earth-covered roofs of the pit houses are repaired. The hide covers of the wickiups are reinforced. A massive pile of firewood is gathered and stacked, enough to last for months. The food stores are carefully packed away in the cache pits, the subterranean larders that will protect your food from the cold and from hungry animals. As the first snowflakes of the winter begin to fall, soft and silent, you are ready. The work is done. The provisions are stored. The lodges are warm and secure. You have finished your last journey. You will not travel again until the spring. You will now enter the long, dark and sacred time of the winter. A time of rest, of family, of stories. A time of drawing inward, of surviving, of dreaming of the spring to come. The world outside can now freeze. You are home. Your life is a practical one, a constant struggle for physical survival. But it is not just a physical life. Your world is saturated with a deep and powerful spirituality. The mountains, the rivers, the animals, the plants, they are not just objects or resources, they are living beings, imbued with a spiritual power, a puha. And your relationship with this power is the single most important aspect of your existence. Your cosmology is a world of spirits. There are the great, powerful spirits of the sky, the sun, and the moon. There are the spirits of the mountains themselves, great, ancient, and often dangerous beings. There are the spirits of the animals you hunt, the plants you gather, and there are the ghosts of your own ancestors. Your success in life, your ability to find food, to stay healthy, to have a strong family is entirely dependent on your ability to maintain a correct and respectful relationship with these spiritual powers. This relationship is managed through prayer, through ceremony, and through the guidance of the shaman, the Pahagant. The shaman is a man or a woman who has a special, direct connection to the spirit world. He can travel to the other worlds in a trance. He can speak with the spirits. He can cure the sicknesses that are caused by spiritual imbalance. But the most important spiritual practice in your life is a personal one. It is the vision quest. When you are a young person, on the cusp of adulthood, you will be expected to go on a vision quest. It is a search for your own personal guardian spirit, a spirit that will guide and protect you for the rest of your life. You will go alone into the mountains. You will go to a sacred place, a place of power, a high peak, a secluded lake, a mysterious cave. You will go with no food and no water. You will stay there for several days, fasting, praying, and crying for a vision. You are making yourself humble. You are making yourself pitiful. You are opening yourself up to the spirit world. It is a terrifying and profound experience. You are alone. You are hungry. You are cold. You are stripped of all your worldly comforts and protections. You are completely vulnerable. And in this state of vulnerability, a vision might come to you. It might come in a dream. It might come in a waking state. A spirit will appear to you. It might be in the form of an animal, an eagle, a bear, a wolf. It might be a strange, otherworldly being. The spirit will speak to you. It will give you a song. It will give you a dance. It will give you its power. It will become your lifelong guardian, your source of strength, of wisdom, of luck. When you return to the village, you will not speak of your vision to everyone. It is a private, sacred, and powerful experience. But it has changed you. You are no longer a child. You are an adult, a person with a spiritual purpose, a person with a place in the cosmic order. Your entire life is guided by this spiritual understanding. When you hunt, you pray to the spirit of the animal. When you gather plants, you pray to the spirit of the plant. You do not see a separation between the physical and the spiritual. They are two sides of the same reality. The mountains are not just a physical landscape, they are a sacred geography. Every peak, every canyon, every lake is home to a spirit. You move through this landscape with a sense of reverence and of awe. This deep spirituality is not a religion that you practice on one day of the week. It is the very air you breathe. It is the lens through which you see the world. It is what gives your life its meaning, its purpose, its beauty. It is what allows you to live in a world of such hardship, not with despair, but with a sense of profound and abiding sacredness. And so, the great, vertical, seasonal cycle is complete. The year of the people of the Rocky Mountains, a life of constant movement, of profound adaptation, and of deep spiritual connection to their high-altitude world, has come to a close. We have journeyed with them from the smoky, subterranean warmth of the winter pit house up to the wildflower-strewn meadows of the alpine summer, and back down again to the shelter of the winter valley. This was a life of incredible ingenuity and resilience. In one of the most challenging environments on the continent, they created a rich, stable, and sustainable culture. They were masters of a vertical nomadism, a way of life that required a knowledge of a half-dozen different ecosystems, from the dry, sagebrush foothills to the frozen, windswept peaks. They were expert hunters, patient gatherers, and sophisticated craftsmen. They knew the secrets of the animals, the language of the plants, the moods of the mountain weather. They built ingenious homes, they fashioned effective tools, and they created a life of surprising comfort and security in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. And their lives were infused with a deep and powerful spirituality. They did not see themselves as separate from the natural world, but as an integral part of it. The mountains were not a resource to be exploited. They were living, powerful relatives. Their relationship with the world was one of respect, of reverence, of a sacred, reciprocal partnership. The world of the traditional mountain people was, like so many other native worlds, shattered by the arrival of the Europeans. The diseases, the miners, the ranchers, the fences, the reservation soul worked to destroy the ancient, migratory rhythms of their lives. But the people, and their connection to the mountains, endured. The descendants of the people we have journeyed with tonight, the Ute, the Shoshone, the Salish, the Kootenai, still here. They are still living in the shadow of their sacred peaks. They are fighting to protect their lands, to preserve their languages, to honor their traditions. The stories are still being told. Tonight, as you settle into your warm, safe, and stationary bed, a world away from the high, thin air of the Rocky Mountains, think of the people who called those peaks home. Think of the hunter, moving like a ghost across a high ridge. Think of the woman, her back bent to the sacred task of digging for roots. Think of the family, huddled together in their warm lodge, listening to the howl of the blizzard outside. Their world whispers to us of a different way of being human. It speaks of a life of incredible physical freedom, of a profound, intimate knowledge of place, and of a spiritual connection to the earth that we, in our modern world, have almost completely forgotten. It is a story that is written not in books, but in the stone of the mountains themselves, and it is an echo of a life of hardship, of beauty, and of a deep and enduring wisdom.